If you're lying back, make sure to put something underneath your knees if you need to, or if underneath your head if it feels better to do that, rather than lying back completely. And take up as much space as feels appropriate. Right? So if you want to spread your legs a little bit wider, your arms a little bit wider, feel free to make that happen. We're currently being encouraged to not take up space in the world. But this on your mat here in the room is a safe place to do so. I want to thank you all for prioritizing your care. It is absolutely a non-essential. I'm sorry, it is not a non-essential. It is an absolute essential. All right, wherever you're comfy. Let's think about closing eyes if it's comfortable to do so, but if not, just, of course, soft gaze on the ceiling or out in front of you. Start to shift from the external place outside the room and pull yourself in toward yourself here on the mat. So the best way to do that is to start looking with your mind's eye at your body. So use your mind's eye to think about your toes and see how they feel. Sometimes if they're still, you can't really feel them or perceive them. So you got to give them a little wiggle to do so. That's okay. And then think about your feet and your heels, your ankles, your lower legs, your knees, your upper legs, so on and so forth, until you get all the way to the top of your head and all the way down to your fingertips. We're just looking to notice, how do these parts of my body feel? When you've made your way, shift your attention and your focus to your breath. How does your breath feel right now? Is it moving quickly? Is it moving calmly? Are the breaths short and shallow in nature? Are they a little deeper? Can you hear the breath in your ear? Can you feel the rise and fall of your chest? Let's begin to shift the breath. So we'll start to take deeper inhales, longer exhales. And just gradually, every breath cycle, taking a little extra air and let out a little extra. So that with every breath cycle, you're gradually increasing the size and length and depth of your breath. We'll bring this to a more focused movement. So on your next exhale, go ahead and let go of the breath, let it out, give it a little pause, hold there. Then together, inhale into the belly, so expand your belly upward and outward. As you exhale, let your belly fall in and down. Again, inhaling, expanding the belly up and out and even back into the mat. And on the exhale, let everything pull in. Maybe you start to feel a little lift from the tailbone up to the belly button even. Again, inhaling to expand and release, grow the size of the breath, the body. And exhale as you pull it in slightly, gently. We'll expand here into the rib cage, so expand the belly. Again, the low waist area, the low back area. Also lift the rib cage and open it out wide. And as you exhale, let that fall in, along with the belly pulling in slightly, a little lift from the tailbone up to the belly button. Inhaling to soften that lift, open, expand the belly, expand your rib cage, press the rib cage into the mat. And then as you exhale again, let it fall in. Everything pulls in slightly, gently, slowly. Again, inhaling, belly, rib cage, up into the higher rib cage, maybe even the collarbone area. Lift the chest, up into the shoulder blades. And then on your exhale, let that fall in. Rib cage starts to contract again. Belly pulls in slightly, little lift from tailbone to belly button. Again, soften, open, expand, take the breath in. Send the breath up into your heart space, the space between your shoulder blades, the base of your neck. And on the exhale, let everything pull in again. Let's continue in this fashion, 3 more breath cycles. So big breath in. Take up as much space. Maybe you're growing. At the top of the breath, you even taken a little extra sip. And then on the exhale, slowly releasing, letting everything withdraw inward. Again, inhaling nice and big. Here, really supporting the respiratory system, really opening up the capacity for the breath. And exhaling to let it out. Even think about it being a cleansing action, letting everything that's not serving you go. Final breath here, inhaling. Big breath. And then slowly let it go. Beautiful job. Let's start wiggling fingers and toes. Circling out the wrists here. Circle out your ankles. Point and flex your feet. Make sure to go in both directions. It's really common for us to go in one direction. It's good for the brain, though, to go the other way. So check it out. It might feel weird. Let's get into the digits here. So we'll take some nice tight fists with the hands and nice tight curling of the toes. And then alternately expand, open the fingertips wide, spread your toes apart as much as you can. And we'll do that a few more times. So use the little muscles in your feet, your hands. Bring some life, some breath, some nourishment to those areas. Good. And then when you're ready, take a nice breath in, reach your arms up overhead, stretch back, reaching your fingertips away from your toes away from your fingertips. Nice big breath here. As you know, I like to kind of alternate reaching back with one hand a little deeper, and then alternate and reach back with the other hand a little further, so that the rib cage and the hips can get a little wiggle. You can also do that with your feet. Maybe press one heel a little more forward, and then the other a little more forward, and alternate that way. Just getting some waking up for our hips, our side body, our everything. All right, when you're ready, full breath, stretch tall, stretch big. And then on your exhale, go ahead, pull your knees in, round your spine. Curl it in. Good, you can pull knees to chest here. You can take one knee to each hand. You can wrap your arms around your knees, whatever feels appropriate. And if it feels good to circle out your knees a little bit, or maybe even to rock side to side, this is a nice option. If you chose to remain seated, you can still wrap the arms around the knees and even rock a little side to side. Good. It might feel really nice to pull your chin to your chest, your forehead to your knees. Giving yourself a little squeeze, a little wake up for the backside body, the hips. And then to start warming it up a little, we'll take hands to the backs of the thighs. I'm just gonna rock up and down the spine here so that start to experience and explore how the spine feels. Feel free to take about 8 or 9 or 10 rocks up and down. And then when you're ready, go ahead and make your way up to a seat. Good. If it feels appropriate for you to sit up on a block, feel free to make that shift. If you brought a towel with you, go ahead, or a blanket, go ahead and sit up on the blanket, and just know that beginning tomorrow, we're gonna limit the use of blankets. Blocks are fine, but use of blankets is gonna be limited. So you may want to bring a towel with you. All right, sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back. Good, hands can rest on thighs or even knees, whatever feels good. And let's get into the spine a little bit more. So Prax, I would suggest you actually sit up on a block. That'll help the knees to refrain from being so high, because you've got some tightness in the hips and the low back. This will help. Good. All right, nice and tall with the spine. There you go, perfect, good. And also know that you can stretch legs out in front of you instead of having them crossed if that feels better. Good. From here, with the hands on thighs or knees, let's take the inhale and pull the chest forward. You can lift your chin, relax your shoulders back. And on your exhale, gently press into your legs, round your spine. Again, inhale as you pull your belly forward. You can tip the tailbone back, lift your chin. And as you exhale, press into the mat, round your spine. Again, inhale and belly pull forward, shoulders back, lift your chest. Good, and as you exhale, round it in. Beautiful. Inhale to a nice neutral spine here. I'm going to take the arms out wide and up overhead. Let's interlock the 10 fingers and press the palms to face up. Good. And let's just give a little notice to the neck. So we'll bend the elbows a little to create some space. So elbows come out to the sides a bit. And we're just going to take the right ear to the right ear to the right shoulder. And then down, chin to chest. And left ear to left shoulder. Good. And then down, chin to chest. Right ear, right shoulder. Good. Chest. Left ear. Good. And let's cycle that back and forth here. You can go as fast or as slow as you'd like, or linger on one side if that feels better. And then bring your head back to nice neutral position. Good. And we're going to take the hands, the elbows, the arms nice and strong here, and we're just going to let that circling come into the rib cage. So we're going to circle around and to the side and up. And think just about bending here at the waist, right? So it's the rib cage circling, not all the way down into the hips. Just working on your dance moves. All right, go the other way. Feeling rib cage circling around the spine almost. You got it. We'll make our way back to center. And let's take the right hand to the mat next to you. If you're sitting up on a block, the mat might be a little far away, so you can take a block there. Left arm's gonna reach toward the right side mirrors. Good. Now, it's okay, totally fine to bend the right elbow a little bit to give you a little more bend, a little more stretch. We're gonna take the top shoulder and we're gonna pull that back in space and forward. And back and forward. Back and forward. So the left rib cage is spinning. Open back and down front. Good. You might feel this on the left side waist area. Continue to reach with the fingertips as you make this happen. Good, let's do a couple more. And then we'll come back to neutral. So chest open, right shoulder, left shoulder, square with the front of the room. And reach more with the fingertips. Feel free to bend the right elbow. Feel free to walk the hand further away from you. But see if you can tack your left hip down a little. Yeah, and then if it feels good to look down with your head or look up with your head and explore the sensation in your neck, feel free to do that as well. Try your best to avoid chin dropping toward the chest. So keep it nice and open. You got it. All right, come right back up to center here. Both arms overhead, interlock. Press the palms to face the ceiling. And then on the exhale, we're gonna round the spine, pull the arms forward, press the palms away from you. Good, inhale right back to center. And we'll take left hand to the mat, next to the hip or to the block, of course. Reaching right arm over to the windows. You got it. Resting firmly into the left hand so you've got some support there. We're gonna take that right shoulder and pull it back and forward. You got it, back and forward. Yep. We'll maybe do about 6 or 7 more here to even it up for both sides. I didn't count. We're just gonna go with the feel. As you move the rib cage, keep reaching with the fingertips. That way you're also opening up the side body. Good, maybe a couple more here. Coming back to neutral. Yep, we'll take the left elbow. You can bend it a little bit or walk the hand further away from you. Reach with the fingertips, root your right hip down this time. Yep, and then explore your neck. If you wanna look down or up or you know, twist it around a little bit. Create some space between the chin and the chest. You got it. Feel this big opening between your ribs, creating massive support here, space for deep breaths. All right, coming right back to center, both arms overhead. Interlock the fingers, press the palms to face up. On the exhale, we're gonna round, so bring the arms down, push the palms away from you, in front of you. And then inhale back up to center, you got it. And we'll take our arms out to the sides and back behind, so we can clasp either hands at the tailbone, or you can reach back and sort of grab onto your forearms, maybe even your elbows, but pull your shoulders back. Wherever you have the grip, we're gonna take the arms and reach them down toward the hips so that we can get a lift in the chest. Maybe even you pull your chin away from the chest a little bit and look up slightly toward the ceiling. Feel free to look back as much as feels okay for your neck. Breath is moving here nice and fluidly through the nose. Might feel a little shorter, a little shallow. It's okay, just keep it moving. Good, come back to neutral. Let's release the hands out wide to the sides. Take a full breath in. And then on your exhale, hands in front of you. Maybe they come to your legs, maybe they come to the mat. And we can walk them as far forward as we'd like here to get a little forward fold. Feel free to let your head hang. You can round your spine. Just start to feel a little opening in the low back, the hips area. If you let the head drop down, you might feel that back of the neck area as well. It's perfect. And even here, you can shimmy your torso a little side to side. It's all about creating movement in many parts of the body, as many as we can get. Feeling into fluidity, feeling into body's ability to adapt. All right, coming back to neutral, we'll walk the hands back to you, sitting to a nice upright position. Good, and from here, let's go ahead and roll into a tabletop position however we can. Good, finding tabletop with hands underneath shoulders or slightly wider, knees underneath hips. Feel free to either rest the tops of your feet on the floor or tuck your toes under. But we'll continue with spinal movement here. So on the inhale, let's let the belly drop down, lift your tailbone and lift your chin. And on your exhale, push firmly into your mat, round your spine. Again, inhale, lift your tailbone up so there's a big arch in the low back, little bend in the elbows as you pull your heart forward. And then exhale, round, push into the mat. Again, inhale, pull your heart, your chest toward the front of the room. On your exhale, push down into your mat, round. Let's do 2 more rounds just like that. Beautiful big breath cycles, feeling as much movement along your spine as possible here. You got it. Next inhale, we're coming to tabletop position, so nice flat spine. Let's do tuck the toes if you haven't already. Take a deep breath and use your exhale to help your hips move all the way back toward your heels. You're gonna feel a big stretch on the bottoms of the feet, maybe the toes. This could be pretty intense here. can feel if your pinky toes are sort of escaping this stretch, maybe you reach back and help include them. You can press firmly into the heels of the hands and root the hips back a little bit more. Good. And then on the inhale, we'll come forward, tabletop position again. Good. Deep breath. On the exhale, hips back. Inhale as you come forward, tabletop. Exhale, hips back. Good. On the inhale, come forward. You can even bend the elbows and pull the heart forward, listen, just like cow pose. And on the exhale, you can round the spine, send the hips to the heels. Inhale as you sort of peel forward to cow pose. And exhale as you push and round. Inhale, peel forward. We'll do 3 more. Exhale, press back. Maybe you feel into the low back a little bit here. Inhale, forward. And exhale, press back, hips to heels. You got it. One more time. Peel forward. And hips back. Good. Let's untuck the toes from here and settle into a child's pose. So walk your hands forward. You can take knees a little bit wider or even more narrow if it feels like you want to target your low back a little more. Good. You can feel free to sort of shimmy your body a little side to side, or if it feels like there's a lot of pressure on the arms to reach forward with the arms, feel free to even wrap your arms down the sides of your legs. Wherever your forehead is touching, and remember it does not have to be touching the mat. If it's not, you can set a block underneath either your chest or your forehead. Wherever the forehead is touching, let's think about rolling the head side to side a little. So a little massage for the neck. Maybe it's just a massage for the forehead. Good. Next inhale, we'll come back to center with the head, lift the chin, and shift your weight forward into your tabletop position once again. From here, we'll walk the hands forward about 4 inches or so, maybe 6. We'll shift the shoulders forward so they stack over the wrists. Again, the hips are gonna come down so that you're in a more modified plank pose, an extended tabletop position, modified plank with knees on the floor. Keep your belly strong, your tailbone rooting toward the knees. Push down into your hands and roll your shoulders back away from your ears. Good. Let's take a nice full breath here. And on the exhale, bend your elbows straight back. You can go 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, halfway down. Press back up. Go ahead, exhale, press the elbows back. And then up. Good. Elbows back. So rather than out to the side, squeeze into the ribs. Good. We'll do 3 more here. Use your breath. 2 more. Keep your belly strong, your tailbone rooting to the knees. Good. Press back up. You got it. Once we're here, we're gonna come down to forearms. So elbows underneath the shoulders. And from this place, we can choose to keep on the knees or tuck the toes and lift the knees and take a forearm plank. In the forearm plank, we're gonna take a breath. Use your exhale to lower the hips to the mat. And then push back up. Again, lower the hips and push back up. 3 more. Lower the hips. Press up. 2 more. You got it. Keep the thighs strong. 1 more. Good. Press up. And then on this next one, completely lower the hips, uncurl the toes. And we're gonna pull the heart forward, Sphinx pose, lift your chest. If this feels like a lot of pressure in the low back, walk your hands forward a little more. Maybe open them out to the sides a little bit more so that more of your belly is resting on the mat. That'll help release pressure. We can take the fingertips pretty wide here and imagine that you can pull yourself forward. Pull, pull, pull between the shoulder blades. Between the shoulders. Squeezing shoulders away from the ears. Maybe shoulder blades kind of pull down toward the hips a little bit here. Create a lot of space for your neck. You got it. One more breath. All right, slide your elbows underneath your shoulders again. We'll tuck the toes. If you would like to lift the knees, go for it, but lift the hips. And then we'll come back to tabletop position. Good, excellent. In your tabletop position, let's take the right foot. We're gonna tip it out to the side a little bit. Stretch your left leg back behind you, so toes tuck under on the floor, and we're gonna spin the heel down so that the foot is flat and parallel with the back of the mat. So make sure foot is flat. You can shift the position of the foot however you'd like. But let's root down into the right hand. Take your left hand to your hip and open the chest toward the windows. You got it. The right foot, you can keep top of the foot on the floor. Sometimes it feels more stable if the toes are tucked, so feel free to make that happen. Reach your left arm up and overhead. You got it. Take a full breath. And on your exhale, pull the arm toward the windows, underneath the rib cage, and reach through. Inhale as you sweep wide and up overhead. You got it. And then under and through. Good, let's do 3 more here. Big open and under. 2 more. Feeling rotation on the shoulder here. This is what we're going for, so you can let the torso come even further down. And 1 more. Good, come on up, we'll open. And then release back, tabletop position. You got it. Let's tip the left toes out to the side. Right leg stretch back. Slide the heel down so that the foot's flat and parallel back of the mat. Lifting the chest, right hand to hip. You got it. Right arm up overhead. With the left hand rooting into the floor, see if you can pull the bottom tip of your shoulder blade down toward your hip, your left hip. So you've got a lot of space between your left ear and your left shoulder. You got it. Full breath here. On your exhale, sweep the arm out in front and underneath. Inhale up. You got it. Out and underneath. Up and open. 2 more here. Good, I feel like we missed one. Let's do 1 more. Good, come on up. And then we'll release right into tabletop position once again. Beautiful job. Let's tuck the toes from here, take a full breath. On your exhale, send your hips back and up into a downward facing dog. Let's wiggle it out a little bit. So pedal your knees 1 at a time and press back with the hips. Good, making sure that you've got fingertips spread fairly wide and that you're really rooting down into the entire length of each finger. So it's not just the base of the palms that's holding you up, but the whole entire hand, even your fingertips. Bend your knees as much as you need so that you can send your hips further back and further up. So if you could glimpse yourself in the side mirror, your spine would be in line between your wrists and your hips. Nice long line there. You can relax your head. Again, feel free to bend the knees a little bit if it means that you can send the hips further back. So push into the arms, the hands. You got it. Nice strong arms. Yeah, good. And then think about inner thighs sort of rolling back and up. This might mean that the position of your feet needs to shift a little bit. Maybe it almost comes to like a slight little pigeon-toed position. And then using an exhale, we send the heels further back toward the back of the room, the back of the mat. We don't have to worry about pressing them into the mat here. They don't have to touch. And also, knees don't ever have to straighten. They can be soft and bent as well. Yep, good. Beautiful downward dogs, everybody. We'll take a nice full breath from here. On your next inhale, come high on your toes, look forward. Use your exhale and just tiptoe your feet up to the top of your mat. Staying as high on the tippy toes as you can for as long as you can. When you get there, open the feet a little wider than hip width distance. Put a bend in your knees, hang heavy over your legs. You can relax your arms. If the fingertips don't come to the floor, you can always take a block underneath and bring the floor to you. Maybe 2 blocks if that feels better. Keeping the knees bent, hang the head, and feel free to either take your hands to your elbows, maybe sway your body a little side to side, or if your fingertips are on the mat, you could walk your hands across to the right and across to the left. And just feel the sensations in the hips as you create this movement. Even if you're just swaying side to side, you can feel that. And even sometimes if you're just hanging static, no movement, you can feel that. All right, come back to neutral. We're gonna take hold of a block and we'll place it just in front of the right foot. So it can be on any level, the lowest level, the mid-level, the highest level. We're gonna place the right palm flat on the block. We'll bend the right knee a lot toward the elbow, might even touch. Left hand will come to the low back, palm flat. So flip your palm to be flat on the back. Yeah, you got it. So your elbow is gonna tip up a little. You're gonna push down into your left foot, straightening the left leg a little bit more. So left hip presses up and back. You're gonna feel this in the hip. Now you're welcome to stay here, feeling the sensation in the hip. You might continue this into a twist. So maybe you pull the left shoulder up toward the ceiling. Maybe you even look up past your left shoulder toward the ceiling. Good, we'll take a nice breath. On your exhale, bend your right knee, lower the left shoulder down. And then inhale, straighten the left knee, press the hip back, lift the left shoulder. Yep. Exhale, bend the left knee, shoulder comes down. Inhale, push the left hip back and up, shoulder lifts. You got it. Let's do 3 more of those. Kind of curling in on the exhale and opening, expanding on the inhale. 1 more. And pause, push back into the hip a little bit more. Keep the right knee bent a lot. You got it, feel it in the hip. Maybe reach your left arm toward the ceiling. Good, beautiful breath here. And we'll release into forward fold. Both knees can be bent. If you want to wiggle that out a little bit, feel free to make that happen. Good, and let's take the block in front of the left foot now. On any level, now you know if you need to adjust it a little, you can. Right palm to low back. Bend your left knee a lot. Straighten up the right leg as much as you can. It may not be completely straight. But we want to feel this in the outer right hip, even the back of the right thigh. Good. Let's peel the shoulder open if you want to. You don't have to if it doesn't feel good. Maybe you even look up past your right shoulder. Keep your left palm flat and strong against the floor, the left arm active and straight and strong. And then here we go, we'll take the right knee, we'll bend it, we'll lower the chest down. Inhale, press and lift. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, press and lift. Keep the left knee bent. Again, come on down. And open. 2 more. Use your breath. Exhale to come down. Inhale to open. Push firmly into your right foot. Press the right hip back. Maybe lift the right arm toward the ceiling. Bending the left knee a lot to allow the space for the right hip to open up. Full breath. And we'll release into forward fold. Good. Release your block out of the way if you'd like. Hands can slide to shins or thighs. And we'll lift the spine about halfway. Good. Take a breath here. And then exhale to fold. Good. Again, inhale, halfway lift. And fold. Inhale, half lift. And fold. This time, root down through the feet. Keep the arms wide, nice long spine as you come all the way up to stand. Both arms can reach up overhead. And hands will come together at the heart. Good. So you can choose to make your feet come to a position, a distance that works appropriately for you. So feet can be about hip width distance, a little wider, maybe even touching together if that feels more supportive. But on your inhale, sweep your arms wide and bring them up overhead. You can look up if it's comfortable. On the exhale, fold over your legs. Again, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And fold. Root down through the feet, sweep your arms wide, come all the way up to stand. Both arms overhead and hands to heart. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms wide and overhead. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Keep the weight forward on your feet. Exhale, fold. Root through the feet, arms wide, all the way up to stand. Deep breath in. And hands together at your heart. Good, just like we did at the beginning of class. Inhale the arms overhead, interlock your 10 fingers. Flip your palms to face up. Good. Bend your elbows a little bit out to the sides, and let's explore the neck a little. Good, you can roll it out. You can make some circles here even too. Just explore. And then bring your head back to neutral. Good. We'll press the palms up. We're gonna tip the tailbone down just a little bit so you feel a little shift in the pelvis, just enough so that the low core is activated and strong. Pressing the palms up, we'll tip the body over to the right. Good, and you can take a right hand to your thigh. Yeah, maybe to your waist. Anything that feels supportive here. You can put a soft little bend in the knees, where we're gonna take left shoulder, pull it back in space, and forward. Good, back, and forwards. Try to keep the hips square, so it's just the rib cage creating this rotation. We're moving through this rotation. Let's do 4 more. Good, on the next one we'll pause, reach. Maybe you take your hand down further and reach the right hand toward the toes. See if you can keep chin away from chest. Good, root down firmly into the feet and find your core again. Make sure the tailbone's rooting down, the core is strong. Good, come on back to center. Both arms overhead, interlocking 10 fingers, press up. And then tip the body over to the left. You got it. Right hand can come to thigh or hip. Right shoulder back and forward. Back and forward. Again, doing your best here to keep the hips square. See if you can rotate the rib cage forward and back, sort of around the spine. Good, let's do 4 more. Last one here, and then come back to neutral, reach over to the other side of the room. Take left hand either down to the thigh or reach toward the toes as you spread your right fingertips, reach, spreading the right rib cage. Good, beautiful. Come on back to center, both arms overhead. Interlock, press the palms up. On your exhale, put a bend in your knees. Round the spine, press your palms away from you. Rounding into the spine quite a lot here. Chin can come to the chest. Good, then inhale, push into the feet, straighten the legs, come on up to stand. And then exhale again, little bend in the knees, round. Inhale up. And round. You got it, inhale up. And round. Inhale up here, this time. On the exhale, soften the knees, take the body over to the right, down, forward. You can bend the knees a lot, all the way up to the left. You can circle back as wide as you want. And then again, round it forward, big circles here. Good, 2 more in this direction. Keeping the belly active and strong to support your movement. Getting the knees bending as much as you need here to support this movement as well. Good, back to center here. We're gonna take it to the other direction. So over to the left. Bend around, come all the way back up, as far back as you'd like. Good, again, round it, big circle here. 3 more. Good, 2 more. Last one here, feel as much movement as in your joints as possible. Coming back up to center, let's pause. Little bend in the knees. Take a breath as you stretch up, palms pressed toward the ceiling. You got it. Let's bend the elbows out to the sides a bit. Bring the arms back as far as they can go. Good. Root your tailbone down. Find that core engagement again. Lift your chest and maybe start to lift your chin. You can certainly press the arms a little further back. You can lift the chest a little more, taking this into a little bit deeper backward bend. Feel free to relax the head as much as feels good for you, but breathe in and out your nose. Good, 1 more breath. And we'll come back to neutral. Excellent. Let's take the hands, reach them up separate, fingertips reaching toward the ceiling. We're gonna imagine that we're a ragdoll going into the forward fold, right? So instead of coming up from ragdoll, we're gonna go into it. So let's take the arms, we're gonna let them be heavy, start to let the head be heavy. Round it forward, let your arms, your head hang. Put a bend in your knees and slowly lower all the way down so fingertips can touch the mat. You can walk yourself forward into a downward dog. And then lower your knees to tabletop. Good, from tabletop, we'll roll around. Sit the hips back and bring legs out in front. You got it. Good. In tabletop, from tabletop position, from the seated position, we're gonna go into a reverse tabletop. So we wanna make sure that knees are bent, knees and feet about hip width distance. I really like to place a block between the knees here. This really helps to turn on the outer hip. So if you've got that, great. If you don't want that, also great. Hands underneath the shoulders, Fingers facing forward to start. Let's make sure that we root down the inner edges of the feet, so pushing down. So bend your knees a lot more practice. Yeah, feet are flat. Yep, there you go. Yeah, it's okay if the block is not there, no worries. Okay, push down into hands the feet and lift your hips. Good. And then come on down. Inhale, push into the mat, lift. And come on down. Let's do 3 more of those. Inhale, lift. And down. 2 more, lift. And down. 1 more lift, and we'll pause, hold. Let's push down into the inner edges of the feet again. Lift your thighs. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest. You're almost squeezing shoulder blades together behind you here. Think about the hamstrings, the back of your thighs, turning on to lift the thighs a little more. You got it. Maybe you squeeze the block a little tighter and feel your outer hips turning on. Push down into the hands, nice and firm. Let's take 1 more breath. On your exhale, go ahead, release. Hips to the mat. Good. Release your block. You can scoot the hips a little forward and lie back on your mat. You got it. Here we've got to take our extended bridge position to fire up the entire backside body here. So we'll walk the feet out in front so that heels are touching the mat, toes are pointing up, legs are almost straight. Good. And then bend your elbows so that your fingertips are pointing toward the ceiling. Push into your heels, your elbows, your shoulders, lift your hips. Good. Once you're there though, think about pulling heels toward shoulders, shoulders toward heels, as though you could fold your mat in half. You're so strong. Pressing the back of the arms into the mat. The chest lifts a little bit here. Good. Press into the heels. Maybe the hips up a little bit higher. And then come on down. We're gonna do that 1 more time for about 5 breath cycles. You did just about 5 just now, so about the same. Okay, take another breath. Let it out. Let's do it again. Push into the heels, the elbows, the shoulders lift. Good. But of course, lifting is just not enough, so we want to pull heels to shoulders, shoulders to heels. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. We've got 3 more breath cycles. 2 more. 1 more. Exhale, release. Good. Pull your knees to your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Excellent job. All right. Let's set the feet on the floor here. Knees can stay bent. And we'll take the right ankle, cross it over the left knee. Pull your right toes back toward your knee so your foot is flexed at the ankle joint. And if this is feeling like enough stretch on your outer right hip, stay here. Maybe you can intensify by pressing the right thigh away from you a little bit with your hand. If you want more, you can always reach back and clasp your hands at the back of the left thigh, or maybe the front of the shin. But keeping the foot flexed, you use your exhales to just gently draw the knees in a little closer. Maybe the elbows bend a little even. You want to keep shoulders, neck nice and soft and relaxed against the mat. And then see if you can root your tailbone down a little bit more into the mat as well. Yeah, use your exhales to find any depth in this shape. Continuing to move and grow the position, the shape with the breath. Good. Let's do 1 more breath cycle here. Next exhale, go ahead and release left foot down. Good. We'll take the ankle uncross, and then we'll cross the left ankle over the right. You got it. Make sure the left foot is flexed. So toes are pulling back toward the knee. Beautiful. And then you can either press the thigh away or reach for the back of the right thigh, the front of the shin, whatever feels appropriate. Again, do your best to relax your jaw, your head, your shoulders. Use your exhales to put a little bend in the elbows and maybe draw the knee a little bit closer to you. You got it. Let's take one more breath cycle. And slowly release left foot to the mat. Good. We'll keep knees bent, feet flat. We're going to take the arms out wide to the sides. And then scoot your hips over to your left and let your knees roll over to the right. Do your best to let your left shoulder stay rooted on the mat. And if your knees don't quite reach the floor, just put a block underneath. Sometimes there's space between the knees. You might want to wedge a block between those two. Feel free to turn your head to any direction that feels supportive and helpful for your practice for this shape. Twisted position just like this. We can think about sort of coming back to the idea of breath cleansing, right? So with your inhale, you take some breath into the rib cage, spreading as much as the ribs apart as much as possible, and maybe even taking as much air into the right side ribs as possible. And using your exhale to let your left side ribs sort of peel open and come around closer to the mat again. So it's helping, it's the breath assisting the shape. Relax your jaw, the space between your eyebrows. Good. As you deepen into the shape, again, we take breath in to create space. Space for our minds, our hearts, our bodies. And exhaling, opening up a little bit more as we release anything that doesn't serve us anymore. Got it. One more breath cycle here. When you're ready, slowly bring your knees back up to center. Scoot your hips over to the right. Let your knees roll over to the left. Remember that one side of the body frequently feels differently than the other. And different is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's also not a bad thing that our bodies may feel asymmetrical. It's almost never the case that our bodies are symmetrical in any way, from side to side, from front to back. So if this side needs different support, maybe it's a block in a different placement. Just honor what it needs. And let's take the breath into the left side rib cage. Use the exhale to allow the right side ribs to peel open a little bit more. The breath doing all the work for your body. Once again, breath creating cleansing. So as you inhale, space inside your mind, your heart, your body. And as you exhale, a release of anything not serving you. Our bodies do so much every single day to support finding balance for us, for our behaviors, for our thoughts, for our actions. Our body's so adaptive. So just as you're supporting your body here with your breath on your mat, you can take your breath and support your body throughout the rest of your day. Let's take one more breath cycle here. Use your inhale to bring knees back up to center. Good. You can realign your hips however you'd like. It might feel nice to take your knees to your chest again. Give yourself a little rounding. Maybe even a happy baby if that feels appropriate for you. Basically any movement that feels good. Take that before you settle into your Shavasana. And then when you're ready, go ahead, stretch your legs out long, your arms out wide. Take up space on your mat as much as you'd like. Feel free to turn your head a few times before it settles into center. And slowly start to drop into relaxation. Here we'll let breath come to a really nice, effortless rhythm. Throughout the rest of your day today, throughout the rest of your week, I encourage you to take this breath practice, this movement meditation, and check in with it. Find opportunities throughout your day to stop and breathe. Every time you stop and consciously, intentionally breathe deeply, you're reconnecting to the meditative energy that you've created here. This is a way to take your meditation out into the world, into your day, into your rest, and can share the benefits of it with others. Thank you so much again for coming in and prioritizing your care. It is essential, especially when there's high energy in the world. If you used blocks, you'll just place them at the back of the room again. If you used a blanket, just take that into the laundry room with you. Same with the straps. And just remember that tomorrow you'll bring a bath towel or something with you instead of a blanket. Take your time here, my dears. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you out front when you're ready. Namaste.